Ralph, that there is actually a lot more coordination between the House, the Senate, and the White House than maybe it appears in the mainstream media. I do know that the White House reaches out to us on a regular basis, and me in particular as a member of Congress. We get to have conversations with their legislative and their political staff. And I think that I think there is more coordination there. But I will say this: I think that this Health Care Act and I think this omnibus bill are a wake-up call to our party that we have to unite. We have to get behind a common vision, and that right now is led by President Donald Trump. And we've got to do those things. If we don't, then I agree with you. I think it's going to be very challenging for the midterm elections. To
the caller's point, do you think Speaker Ryan is on board with that common vision with President Trump?
Absolutely. Yes, I do. We hear that we hear that in our weekly conference meetings. We see the work that's being done to try to bring the party together. Listen, we as Republicans represent a very broad swath of America. You know, you take a district like Georgia 3. We're a very, very conservative place. You take some of my freshman colleagues that maybe are in Pennsylvania or upstate New York. They may be the more conservative people in their districts, but they're representing a district that is fairly moderate. Okay, and so you have these regional differences in there as well. So I don't necessarily think that these are wild ideological swings. These are men and women trying to represent their districts, and their districts are very, very different. We may all be Republicans, but a district in upstate New York is certainly different than a Republican district in California or one in the Southeast.
Well, let's get you a caller from the Peach State. Antonio is calling from Atlanta. Line for Independence. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. Congressman Ferguson, you know, I think you're a great man, and I appreciate and respect you running and winning and representing the state of Georgia. I'm personally in the 5th District under John Lewis, and I'm also an independent. You know, unfortunately, I don't necessarily agree with the fact of the line item in the budget for the additional forces at the border. I feel like that could have been put more towards healthcare reform. As an individual that works in the community every day in the city of Atlanta, you know, I come across individuals that are suffering with the health care, with the Obamacare, trying to get HIV/AIDS medications that they can't afford because the Obamacare, the way that it's written right now, the medication is still so high that it makes it untenable, and these people are dying out here. You know, so I don't necessarily agree with this spending bill. I don't agree with where finances are being allocated, and I don't think the people's voices are being heard.
Well, certainly, you know, what you deal with every single day, if you're out working in the community, thank you for your service, and thank you for being willing to go into some tough areas and do that tough work. Yeah, I agree with you. You see that the Affordable Care Act, or as you described it, Obamacare, still has a lot of holes in it, and there are a lot of areas that it's failing, and that is one of the reasons that we do have to repeal and replace it, and I ultimately feel confident that we will. To your point about border security, listen, one of the things that the president ran on was keeping this nation safe, and border security is at the forefront of that, and I fully support that. President Trump truly believes that one of the first things that he has to do as president is secure the borders, and I think that that's important for us to have a real honest discussion about a long-term immigration plan. The American people are not going to trust an immigration plan until they know that the borders are secure, and I think that this is a step in the right direction.
The budget includes a $1.5 billion increase for the Department of Homeland Security and Homeland Security projects. That's up from to $42.4 billion in fiscal 2017, up from $40.9 billion in fiscal 2016. The numbers there on the chart from the Wall Street Journal. One other number that we've talked about is defense spending, up to $593 billion in fiscal 2017, which could include another $2.5 billion if President Trump provides a plan to counter the Islamic State. What does Congress want to see in that plan to release that other $2.5 billion to the Defense Department?
Well, let's first talk about the first number, which is, you know, a significant increase in defense spending for the remainder of this year. Our military has been depleted. I have a daughter that serves in the Navy. I hear firsthand from her some of the tough things that our men and women are having to deal with. I think making sure that we have the resources to make sure that they have the equipment, the personnel levels, and quite candidly to make sure that they're paid well. This budget does include about a 2.5% pay increase for our men and women that serve, and I think that that's appropriate. As far as fighting ISIS, you know, I haven't seen the details of that. And I have not been privy to what that actually would look like. I think the most important thing that we got to focus on the defense side of this budget right now is realizing that President Trump has made a commitment, and Congress has backed him up on this to make sure that our men and women serve and have the tools and resources they need to defend this nation. Let's head to Sumter, South Carolina. John is a Democrat. Good morning.
Good morning. I can't believe we're having this conversation. Just give me a minute. Congressman, did you support both wars?
First of all, this is my first time in Congress, John. So, you know, I didn't have an opportunity to address that as a member of Congress.
I'm not asking you did you vote on anything. I'm asking you did you support them?
Yes, sir. I supported defending American values and freedom around the world, and I certainly do. I certainly saw as many of us.
Well, John, hold on. Let the congressman finish, and I'll come back to you.
Yeah. Listen, we're dealing. We have a very dangerous world right now, and we have had for some time. There are people in this world that want to erode our freedoms, and they quite candidly want to attack America, and they want to kill Americans. We have an obligation as a nation to defend ourselves and to go out into the world where those threats are and address those.
John, go ahead.
Okay. That was a yes or no answer. The point is we can, once we go into a country, we never leave. So we have to take care of, we tear them apart and we have to take care of them. Why is it such a big issue that we can't take care of home first? I mean, you got companies. Did you know Saudi Arabia just bought one of our refineries? They're 100% owned by the Saudis, and we never mentioned anything about it. What it boils down to me is the reason why you can't get health care like you want it is because of the pharmaceutical companies and the insurance companies. You never mention this. It's all out greed.
Congressman.
Well, first of all, I think you know, the question started. The caller really wanted to know about, you know, why do we go out into the world instead of looking at home first? Well, first, I think it's the most important thing we have to remember as Americans. Our most important value is freedom, and the thing that we love and cherish the most is our freedom, the freedom to live our lives the way that we want to. If that freedom is under attack from outside, we can't do anything else, and so we have to defend ourselves around the world and the American values around the world. That's first and foremost. As far as again going back to health care, again, it is a multifaceted approach to fixing the American health care system, and I'll go back to my point. I don't think that a single vote on health care is gonna solve all of the problems. Also, keep in mind, and I know other members have been on talking about this, and I know that there have been a lot of callers on this. This is just the first step, the American Health Care Act. We're working in a very, very constrained environment with the reconciliation rules, but it gives Republicans and conservatives a chance to really change the direction of health care for the better in this nation, and I think that we're doing that.
Let's go to our line for Republicans. Keith, Warren, Massachusetts. Good morning.
Good morning, C-SPAN. Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Ferguson. Yeah, I had a couple questions. Personally, I think the book was a great idea. As far as health care goes, I was wondering, I know that we're paying for health care for the 20 or 30 million illegal immigrants that come in anyway, no matter where they're from, I believe. And I was just curious, too, are we paying also for giving insurance to the HB visa people? And I never heard anybody talk about it too much, but it just seems like those millions and millions of people that aren't paying in, if they weren't there, then it wouldn't be really as much of a problem as there is.
Well, thanks for the call, and I would say this. I think you and I would